you would always want to be on the side of having good credit.
Do you think it pays to have good credit? Let me ask you this. Speaking
Yes.
about financing cars, there's a lot of people who try to reject some of the things I say about financing vehicles are stupid. A lot of people are like, oh, well, I'm going to use my credit, especially if I have a good credit score. I am going to go get a reliable vehicle opposed to something I can afford to buy cash. Do you think that's a little bit crazy to a sense? Because look at it this way: if you go out and finance a vehicle, you're paying interest, that's costing money, but then
Mhm.
it's going to cut into your cash flow every single month. And man, these cars, they're $600, $800, $1,000 a month, depending on the type of vehicle they get, opposed to if they go out and just save 5, 10, 15 grand and they can just buy something cash. So what if something breaks one time? I still, in my opinion, believe that is much cheaper than paying $800 every single month. So I think that's almost, to a sense, telling on yourself. That's telling on yourself to where you're admitting you do not have the available funds to go out and buy a cash car because
Mhm.
you may not be disciplined enough. You may not have the available cash flow due to bad debt. So that way you don't have the savings to go out and buy a cash car. So now you're admitting to wanting to use your credit to buy a vehicle, which is going to cut into more cash flow. That's going to put you in a worse situation whenever that breaks and that's out of warranty. What are you going to do then? What are you going to do if you buy a used car and you're financing it and it's already out of warranty? So I think when people say they finance a car because it's more reliable than a cash car, I think to a sense that's telling on yourself that you're not set up financially to have available funds to buy a car that's 10 or $12,000. Yeah,
Yeah.
something that's 10 or 12 grand may be over 100,000 miles, but it's not guaranteed that it's going to break.
Yeah. Yeah.
I've had several cars that had over 100,000 miles on it and it ran fine. The AC may have went out, but I mean, that's what, $2,000 to get fixed with a compressor, labor, and all of that
Yeah.
stuff. And I mean, you're paying what, if you have a $600, $700 car note every single month, that's what, $8,000 a year. So I
Yeah.
mean, what is a $2,000 repair? I think when people say they use their credit to finance a car, is realistically an excuse to a reason why they couldn't or they didn't buy something that was cash. And I think a lot of, and it may not be that all the time, but there's could be situations to where people can misunderstand comparing the math side by side. Yeah, if you buy this car for $12,000 cash and the AC goes out, yes, that's going to cost $2,000 or $3,000 to fix. So does that mean you should automatically opt into a $600, $700, $800 car payment to where you're paying $8,000 a year? That's almost replacing the AC in the vehicle 3 times a year. You see where I'm going with that?
Oh yeah, most definitely, man. I already do that. I did that or whatever. I was doing that just right recently when I purchased a car. You know what I mean?
Yep.
It's like, and that's why in the back of my head, I could have got my car fixed for, I think they wanted $3,000, right?
Right.
2,500 to 3,000. Okay.
Yeah.
If I'd have, and then I was like, okay, I could have paid that to get the car fixed, right? And that's why I'll be like, man, it was a bad decision. I wanted this car, but it was a bad decision.
Yeah.
4 months or whatever, that car would have got fixed and worked the rest of the year.
Yeah. Just that
You
simple.
get, and I paid, and you know what else? I mean, when you have an older car, some people you don't have to get full coverage insurance.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
really, 2 months, 2 months and a half, I could have got that. Two
For no
months and a
car
half, three
payments.
months, all that together. I could have got that car fixed, been riding for a year.
There you go.
And the thing about it is, and this coming from a person that fixed credit,
Yep.
you know what I mean? And and you know how honest our conversation is. If you wanted a car right now, we probably discouraging you from coming fix your credit to buy a car. But
There you go.
honesty is everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, Man, look, that's most definitely is true than what you're saying, because I'm telling you, that's why I'm thinking like that. I could have had my little car fixed, got me everywhere I'm going. You know what I
There
mean?
you go. Well, man, I think that's all for this episode. We've talked about a lot of financial topics and gotten personal with a lot of our conversations here, and for any of our audience that's listening to this episode, they see that we're not just spitting out some random answers. They clearly see we're giving our true personal answers and some personal life experiences with a lot of these answers, man. So
Oh
I
yeah, most
definitely
definitely.
appreciate you for joining the It Pays to Have Good Credit podcast, sharing some of these topics and personal experiences, man. We definitely talked about a lot. We gave some honest feedback on some situations. We talked about some of the crazy things that goes on in the credit repair industry. So
Hmm.
I think we just about shared everything, man. And for anybody that's listening or watching this episode, be sure to comment any additional questions or any topics that you wish for any of us to speak on. We'll be more than happy to go over some of those topics that you may have questions on. But other than that, that's all until the next one.
Stirgus credit repair. Stirgus credit repair.